So there's, so I do believe in the coming months we're going to see more evidence of a slowdown in this economy.
Buckle up, crypto fans. Bitcoin just flashed a death cross on the charts. That's right, the dreaded signal is here, and it's got everyone's attention. The stakes are high, and the game has shifted. BlackRock's sounding the alarm, predicting a full-blown recession. So here's the million-dollar question. With the landscape turning upside down, what's our next move? Are we selling now to scoop up BTC at a discount later? Drop your hot takes in the comments. I'm dying to hear them. But hold tight. There's a silver lining here. Most folks are missing the bigger picture of what's brewing. Stick with me for the whole video. I've got an exclusive clip at the end that'll blow your mind.
If you have more time than money, then the volatility of Bitcoin is a gift to you.
First, let's hit the rewind button. So much has flipped since last week. I'm breaking down the latest on the US and global economy, and it's a wild ride. BlackRock's big boss, Larry Fink, isn't mincing words. He's seeing recession red flags everywhere. The US is teetering on the edge, he says. You've got to hear this straight from the source. Listen up.
A couple airline CEOs told me, one CEO specifically said, the airline industry is like the proverbial bird in a coal mine, canary in the coal mine, and I was told that the canary is sick. And all of this, I would imagine now, with the market setback, is going to freeze more and more consumption. And I think we're going to start seeing that really quickly. So there's, so I do believe in the coming months we're going to see more evidence of a slowdown in this economy.
Even the diehard Trump cheerleaders are raising eyebrows. Take CNBC's Joe Kernan, proud MAGA voice, who's calling out the chaos in Trump's tariff playbook. He went toe-to-toe with Peter Navarro, Trump's trade guru, and it's a showdown you can't miss. The cracks are showing. Check this out.
I think they're much bigger than most people thought. And I think from policy institutes on both sides of the aisle, the methodology that was used has been universally derided as being non-serious. I don't know whether you know exactly who came up with the formula, but it allowed you to at least characterize most of these countries as being their tariffs well above the reality of the situation, so that when you say that we're going to do half on them, it was much higher than anyone anticipated. And I think you'd have to concede that this was not the market reaction you were looking for. There's a way of maybe incrementally trying to accomplish some of the things that the president wants to do in a reasonable, serious way. And this just almost across the board has caused what you're seeing in the stock market and a lot of head scratching and head shaking on whether anyone really knows what they're doing in this case, Peter. All right, well, can you at least acknowledge that?
No, I can't.
Now, here's a juicy twist. The market spiked today on whispers that Trump might toss a 90-day lifeline for trade talks. False alarm. The White House slammed the brakes on that rumor fast, shutting down any hope of a truce. No peace offerings here. Just pure, unfiltered tension. The plot thickens.
Spoke to Caroline Leavitt, the White House press secretary, on the phone just a short time ago, and she tells me it is, quote unquote, fake news that the White House is considering a 90-day pause. So the White House pouring cold water on this idea, wherever it came from, that they're considering a 90-day pause on tariffs, saying that the president is committed to his tariff regime, and any reports that he's considering a 90-day pause are, quote, fake news.
And it gets spicier. Trade hawk Peter Navarro, speaking for Team Trump, dropped a bombshell. Even if other nations slashed tariffs to zero, it wouldn't cut it. They're demanding a total overhaul of how imports roll into the U.S. Bold move or reckless gamble? You listen and decide. Does this even add up?
I think the thing we're all trying to understand is then if there are going to be negotiations and you're saying zero is not enough, what is enough?
Zero is a small first start. Okay.
Okay. So, then what is enough? And let me ask you, but related to that.
But let me answer that question. Let me answer. Let's take them one at a time. We got plenty of time. So what is enough? Okay. You take any given country, they're like fingerprints. They all cheat us in a different way. So here are the things they cheat us on. Some of them engage in currency manipulation. Some of them have a hefty VAT tax. All of them dump into our markets. All of them engage in heavy export subsidies and government subsidies. All of them put up these phony technical and phytosanitary barriers to our ag products and our autos and everything in between. Many of them steal our intellectual property. A lot of them run sweatshop labor, including forced child labor. They have pollution havens. So when you say to me, Ed, what do we want from them? We want fairness. We don't want them to kill American workers by inundating us with this non-tariff cheating. And it would be really refreshing to have the media talk more about that. This zero tariff thing, it's a misdirection. No, it's a misdirection. It's the non-tariff barriers.
What that suggests is that there's going to be a lot bigger challenge in terms of actually then getting to yes, if you will, or finding the off-ramp where a deal is made, given that we're not just talking about getting to zero, we're talking about getting all sorts of other policies inside each of these countries changed.
Here's the raw truth. The White House is engineering a bear market and maybe a recession right before our eyes. Trump's staring down the world in a global game of chicken. Yet Bitcoin, it's flexing some serious muscle. Sure, it dipped to a local low of $74,000 today, but it's holding steady. Could it slide to $65,000? Maybe. But old resistance is now fresh support. Here's the kicker. Trump could flip the script any second, sparking a monster relief rally. I'm betting he'll juice the economy by the 2026 midterms. So if you can ride out this storm and stack your hodl bags, you're golden. Volatility's your VIP pass to profit. Michael Saylor nails it best.
Volatility was a gift to the faithful. It scares away the tourist. It scares away the lazy. It scares away the people that are already conventionally rich, that have all the money. If you're a 20-something or a 30-something and you're willing to do the work, if you're willing to spend 100 hours or 200 hours, if you have more time than money, then the volatility of Bitcoin is a gift to you. If you have more money than time and you're arrogant and egotistical and you just pick the obvious, then if the volatility goes away, you buy Bitcoin. If people in the rest of the world knew what I know and they understood and they agreed with me, Bitcoin would go to $10 million tomorrow. And if Bitcoin went to $10 million tomorrow, I want you to think about how you would feel, because you would lose 20 years of stacking opportunity during which you get to buy at less than $10 million. So the difference between $10 million and 100,000, that's what you give up if the volatility goes away and people start to agree with you.
Let's zoom out. Yeah, the market's wobbling this month, a recession's looming, and Trump's trade stance is pure fire and brimstone. But we unpack this daily. It's the new normal. We're in the thick of a seismic shift, a great reset that's turbocharging Bitcoin and crypto. If you're a regular here, you know the drill. The fundamentals scream long-term bullish vibes like never before. Bitwise CIO Matt Hogan's got the final word. Stay tuned.
I had Arthur Hayes on my show last week, and he came on and said that he thinks that the strategic Bitcoin reserve is overblown and that governments and central banks aren't going to be buying Bitcoin and going to stick to gold. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I don't think he's right. And I don't think he's right for that 90-10 reason, which is central banks are not in the business of making bets. And I agree, they'll probably buy more gold than Bitcoin. That's probably true. But that doesn't mean they won't buy any Bitcoin, right? I think the number of countries that own Bitcoin will at least double. I think the game theory of getting in first is afoot, as you mentioned. How do you know we're not doing it? And even if it's just at this 90-10 ratio, that means they have to buy a very lot of Bitcoin, right? Just to get up to neutral. So he's right that they'll probably buy more gold, but the impact will be much bigger on Bitcoin because we're in a supply constrained situation, right? We only create 165,000 Bitcoin a year. If governments buy 500,000 Bitcoin, that's 3x supply, right? That means the price goes up unless people are willing to sell. And that's just one source of demand.
Do you think that we are still on the traditional crypto 4-year cycle?
No, but from a bullish perspective, I sort of think, these cycles starts because there's a huge catalyst that brings new capital into the market. And this one started, for what it's worth, almost exactly at the day Grayscale won its lawsuit about a Bitcoin ETF. If you go back to when the bull market started, that was March of 2023 was when they won their lawsuit. And that meant institutional investors were coming into this market rips. I think we had another one of those events, like another one of those tectonic 4-year cycle starting events with the Trump election.